Welcome to Doctor's Inn. Today we have a distinguished doctor. He is not a MBBS doctor or a FACS doctor. He is just a doctor from kitchen who had proved kitchen is our medical lab and food is our medicine and mother is our doctor. Meet Dr. Mohan Vaidyar. He is a traditional Vaidyar from a traditional Vaidyar family. We can meet Mr. Mohan Vaidyar for Doctor's Inn. It is said that the kitchen is our hospital and our mothers who cook food in it are like doctors. Can you explain this thought?
It is true that since ancient times, kitchens have been considered as the true hospital, mothers as doctors and food as medicine. That is because we were able to cure all ailments by preparing food the way it needed to be prepared. Depending on climatic conditions and our body's limitations, we knew what food to eat. There was an agenda. But now, there is no agenda in our food habits. We blindly follow the modern fast food culture and have thrown away our knowledge and traditional value for a different culture. And that is where our diseases originate from. In the past, we used copper and clay vessels to act as natural purifiers while cooking food. There was no use of aluminium vessels. We used earthen pots. They were washed using tamarind and ashes. No washing powder was used. Lime was used to wash copper vessels. We kept food in copper vessels, boiled rice in copper vessels, and poured water in copper vessels. All natural elements were synced with our body's requirements. We learned all this as science, yet started using non-healthy practices like aluminium vessels and putting hot water in plastic, which itself is so dangerous. Different people started to learn different things in different branches of medicine, but they did so without understanding their own body and its requirements and our culture. It is only after studying who we are, what our body needs, how our body is built and what it is made of, that we praise God's miracle of originating us from a zygote to a living organism, taking food from its mother's womb and becoming a living body, inside which lies our true spirit, our true self. This is the Indian belief. What you see is what will happen. And so your spirit inside sees what it wants and then decides what your body needs. No external force can decide. Only the one who constitutes the body can decide its needs. So in the kitchen, after God's grace, your true creator lies in the food you eat to fill your soul. That is why in all religions, especially according to Indian belief, the biggest gift one can give oneself is Annadhanam. The God created a temple for him to sit in, and that's inside each of our bodies. So when we eat, it should be to feed him. That is why we say kitchen is hospital and mother is a doctor.
Nowadays, a lot of exploitation is being done in the name of food practices. Right from chocolates that kids eat to wheat flour, you yourself have scientifically proven so many claims about food practices that destroy the human body. Such practices are rampant, not just in India, but also abroad. It's like a chain reaction. An international product comes into Kerala and is distributed all across districts and everyone buys it. So with the discoveries you have made, what change do you believe you can make?
My father was a natural healer. I was born in Mumbai. There my brother and I worked at a company that constructed chemical plants. So I studied about chemical plants, fertilizers and petrochemicals. During this time, I learned that the most popular products which we believe to be healthy and safe today are made from petroleum byproducts. All synthetic foods such as color, preservatives, essences, etc. are made from petroleum. For example, nowadays we eat citric acid instead of lemon juice. Let's take the case of lemon juice. What we drink has no connection with natural lemon. Like this, there are thousands of essence, tastemakers, etc. made in such plants. That's when I learned that the food we consume is not the kind that our body likes. Another example is of Ajinomoto. It is made from the gut of prawns, but now it is made chemically using monosudoglutamate. With this in the market and our consumption of it, all our taste patterns have changed, and we have managed to cheat our body and its normal routine. We have also managed to cheat our olfactory senses, which are able to distinguish over 50,000 odors. Then we cheated our eyes. You should understand that our body conducts several tests and processes before fully digesting the food we consume. The first testing lab is our eye, which sees if the food is edible or not. The brain then directs the hand to pick the food. So to fool our eyes, we use colors in even basic items like biryani, banana fritters and other snacks to main items like fish curry. So with the eye cheated, that tester has been bypassed. Next is the smell. A bad odor can throw us off, like the tsunami meat case. So it has been bypassed by fragrances. Next is the tongue, which tastes and tells us whether to continue eating or to spit it out. So tastemakers have been released to bypass them. Next is our mouth, where while chewing, if we get hair or stone, we spit the food out and refuse to eat the rest. Next is our stomach, which mixes the food, and if not palatable, we either vomit or suffer from loose motion. Then finally, once the food is dispersed in the blood, before converting to glucose, using amino proteins, the food is tested and if bad, is converted to sugar. This rejected part of the food stays in the blood and does not dissolve even if those with diabetes inject insulin or eat tablet. Now if it is made into glucose by amino acids, it is finally rejected and is called type 2 sugar. So as you can see, lots of tests are done before food can be dissolved and converted into glucose. The type 2 sugar is then converted to urine and passed out. As you can see, the human body is one unit. There are no separate origins for each part. All parts have originated from one cell zygote or totipotent stem cell. This stem cell is the source from which all parts like eyes, nose, mouth, ears, heart, liver, skin, etc. originate. Just like how in a house there may be a kitchen, dining hall, bedroom, bathroom, etc. But all these are made from bricks. Similarly, our body originates from one type of cell. So as glucose is formed, each of these body types takes insulin as per their requirement. The extra sugar is excreted as urine. In the past, when men would urinate frequently, their mother would make a calculated guess that he had diabetes. But they wouldn't confirm it because men are likely to suffer from prostate gland enlargement as well. So they would check under the tree where their son would have urinated. And if after some time they found a trail of ants leading to it, then they would confirm that it is excess sugar rejection. So our body is one unit. There is no separate food for each unit. Whatever we eat is distributed and there are no separate cells in the body respective to each body parts. Let's say 500 units of glucose is required by the body. If we consume 600 units, there will be no major problem first. But insulin will be provided only for 500, leading to the rest 100 being converted into glycogen and deposited under skin, liver, under the arms and other body parts. This stored glycogen, when consumed by body at a later stage, leads to those suffering from diabetes growing thin. And then we go to see a doctor who sends us to the testing lab. This is where we should know something. As per Indian law, anyone with just a 10th grade pass can be a technician. He does the test, but fails to give us a diagnosis and asks us to go back to the doctor. Then we again go to the doctor, who, having a doubt regarding the test result, calls up the lab technician. So we have to think as to who is really useful here. Now, after all this, the doctor gives us a medicine. But according to Indian law, since November 1st, doctors are not allowed to prescribe medicines. Only pharma specialists and doctors with PhD can prescribe medicines. Other doctors can only diagnose our illness. What we should ask next is of what use these medicines are to us. Just like how eating a red hot chili makes us salivate badly to counter its spiciness, same way these medicines entice the pancreas to produce more insulin, almost like a bribe. Now this extra insulin that is produced accumulates and eats whatever sugar comes into the body. That is because this insulin should not be allowed to stay in the blood. It can cause death. Knowing that it is dangerous, our mind tells the insulin to eat away all the glucose to prevent low blood pressure, which may result in death. So the insulin eats away all the stored glucose as well. If sufficient sugar is not available, it is because of the bad food we eat that we have to generate extra insulin. An adult man produces 1.5 to 2.5 liters insulin a day, but requires only 2 ml. So it is not because of insulin deficiency that we suffer from sugar, but because of the unhealthy food, due to which the insulin is not enough and we have to bribe our pancreas with a pill to produce more. After that, because of the extra insulin produced, all the stored energy is taken away. That is why a diabetic patient loses his eyesight first after taking the pills for a few weeks. So he goes to an eye doctor, and the ophthalmologist will tell him to check his sugar first. All specialists will tell that as a first test to be conducted for any problem. And then the doctor will term the reason as diabetic retinopathy or diabetic glaucoma. Now after a few days, the patient's hands will go limp. So he goes and sees a neurosurgeon. He too tells him to do a blood test and then terms the reason as diabetic neuropathy. After a few days, for kidney-related issues, he goes to a nephrologist who terms the reason as diabetic nephropathy. Then he goes to a cardiologist, and because of chest pain, who names it diabetic cardiopathy. So whichever bodily part is affected like this, consider the culprit as sugar. Now where did this sugar come from? It came from the unhealthy food that we ate. So the base rule of this body is that whatever you eat, the bulk of it changes to feces. The refined part constitutes our body and the most pure part becomes our soul and mind. That's what Ayurveda says.
Your viewers would have understood by now that sugar is not a disease but a lifestyle disorder. But now I need to know, as a doctor, when someone approaches you, how do you diagnose their disease and how do you prescribe them medicines?
There's an interesting point based on what I said first. What we eat is based on the tradition passed down by our parents. It has passed down from generations, and what we eat from a young age will decide how we grow. For example, when a dog has stomachache, it will go and have scotch grass. No one told it to do so, but it does so anyways, because it has received this knowledge from its own parents as a solution for stomachache. The same way, when a cow is born and its mother licks her, everyone knows that it is needed for the calf to rise on its own. Nature has its own balance. That is why people of their respective states should eat what is available locally. We should eat what is grown here and not food that comes from outside. That is what our parents ate, and it is the same body and health that we'll get too. For example, In my house, some girls from Manipur come for work. They love dogs and hug them while sleeping at night. And while in our place, we slaughter lambs for a festival, there they eat dog meat. A Manipuri's mouth will water upon seeing a juicy piece of dog. Now, if you serve non-vegetarian food to a Brahmin child, he will vomit. But other children will immediately eat it. That one can only adapt to their particular taste. In the same way as our gene and mind is shaped by what our parents have passed down to us. Only endemic food will be digested in us. Now coming to vegetables. In our land, we get all kinds of vegetables, but we should only eat the vegetables available as per season, instead of growing them all through the year by irrigation and other external methods. There are certain vegetables that should not be eaten during summer. In olden times, there were proper rules on what to eat, when to eat, and how to eat. In fact, if you eat the wrong vegetable, you can even get kidney stone, which is why people coming from Gulf countries often complain of stone problems because they eat all kinds of vegetables in the heat there. Here we store extra vegetables such as tuber crops in the attic and boil or cook it later. We should be careful even in the matter of fruits. In the hot climate of Gulf countries, you will find dates. Now, dates are good for cooling your body and so it is useful there, but it shouldn't be consumed in Kerala. It may be very nutritious, but not for us. If it is eaten in a cold region, the problem will be even more severe. Apple is another fruit that is not grown in Kerala. It is grown in cold countries and so should not be eaten here. Same with fruits like oranges, grapes, etc. Whatever is grown in the respective region as per the temperature should be eaten by the people living there. We should only eat as per the temperature regulation of our body. The Westerners invented fridge and brought it here. Since then, we have been eating out of our bodily temperature range. We shouldn't be eating food at below 10 degrees Celsius. It is not suitable for our life. This is the rule of leading a good life. In no way should people of Kerala who suffer from sugar-related ailments eat wheat. That's because wheat is not grown here. Wheat comes from North Indian states like Punjab, UP, etc., where there is both summer and winter. During summer, they eat rice, and during winter, they eat wheat. They thus farm both. But here we only grow rice 365 days. What's worse is that all this has become like a transaction. For example, in the morning we eat a snack with tea. Then by 10 a.m. we eat rice porridge and curry. At 1 p.m. we eat a lot of rice with 5 to 8 side curries. Then again at 4 p.m. we eat tea and snacks. And at night, dinner. In olden times, 40 people ate from 1 cup of rice. But today, 140 people can eat the same quantity. Citing high sugar as a reason, people eat less rice and supplement their hunger with wheat products like chapati. All this wrong information has been passed down by doctors, and people having sugar should never eat wheat. Especially today's processed wheat products which are free from pest attacks. Such products are more dangerous. Only the food which our forefathers ate can be eaten by us too. Secondly, no disease latches onto the body. Now here is an interesting insight. When we die and the spirit leaves our body, we become a corpse. Our body will rot and be destroyed, but we cannot feel or see anything. That is because once the spirit leaves our body, it becomes a corpse and never gets sick. So who is the real victim of our illness? Our spirit and our mind. And this spirit is the only real doctor. Doctor who can heal us naturally. That is my theory. For example, who is deserving of repairing a vehicle?
In our land, it is a mechanic.
But think about it. is he actually the right person? Because if you take the vehicle to a mechanic, he will tinker around with it without being shown the problem or its solution. He will remove bolts and screws, and some components may go missing because he can never know the machine in and out. But if you take it to someone who built the vehicle, he will be able to diagnose the problem by just removing one bolt. Similarly, the only one who made us can know what is wrong with us. Only when we understand how we became sick can we even think of diagnosing it. If you go to a carpenter and ask him to take a door for repair, he'll knock at crucial points, remove the door in one go. But if you ask me, I'll have to break it to his place. Just like the guy who made the door can also dismantle and repair it, the one who made a vehicle can also repair it. In one look, the creators know everything about their product. They can even foresee future problems. Similarly, illness is nothing but the process to repair our body. The spirit sitting inside us employs it as a defense tool. The illness comes in 16 forms. According to us, traditional doctors, we say that feces, urine, vomiting, loose motion, menstruation, semen, mucus, teardrops, cough, cold, hiccups, sneezing, earwax, sweat, etc. are used to understand the body and heal it. If an external agent enters our body and the cells there are damaged, the damaged cells are collated as a lump, and the rest of the undamaged cells take on the additional burden along with their work. It has now been found that in a mother's womb, the child grows as a tumor. That is because if a mother becomes sick, the child should not be affected. The child needs to be a separate entity, despite the child growing in the same body. During times of pregnancy, the human body undergoes several changes. This is the basic premise. In the past, you may have seen snot coming out of small children's nose. The snot carries all the dirt contained within our head and exits from the nose. There will be no sickness if it is allowed to flow. That is a technology used by the body to purify us. But now, modern science tells us to hold the mucus back by using spray and vaporizers and locking it there. That is the difference between then and now. Our mothers and natural practitioners have only been trying to support our body. If there is a fungus growth on our toe, we used to apply lemon or henna plant extract. It helped the fungus to be wiped off fast. Instead, today we pour hydrogen peroxide on our toe to burn the fungus. When we used to catch fever, our mothers would know that it is because our body's immunity power had gone down. The body raises the temperature to kill the outside bacteria. This natural mechanism defends and protects us. And so, a mother pours herbal medicines into boiling water and makes her child inhale steam by enclosing him in a blanket. Immediately his fever shoots up. The heat kills the germs and he recovers in half an hour. Now this is the science that we all know. The mother may not be very educated, but she has good wisdom received down the ages. But now we have asked her to leave the kitchen and allowed new practices to come into place. So today's children only eat paracetamol, and since then our body has worked against us. This is the beginning. Now moving on from food practices, let's talk about the treatment that we need to do. We should see all food as one. Earlier, while talking about sugar, we said how food ingested into our body is distributed everywhere through the blood. So if I give you medicine or herbs, even that goes into blood and is converted to glucose and taken by all body parts. So that means that all diseases require just one medicine. No need of separate medicines for each body part. The medicine that cleans the full body system is called food. So this is the base. Whether it's a cardio, neuro or nephro patient, I will tell a simple solution. Let's take the case of a kidney patient doing dialysis. First thing we study is that if a kidney patient stops dialysis, then he will never live. It is almost like hanging a noose around one's neck. People think of dialysis as some form of medicine which is wrong. I keep wondering why people are not willing to explore alternate options before they begin dialysis. This is a lesson we have to learn. It's not just through kidney that we secrete bodily fluids. Our sweat is an outlet too. So make the patient sweat more or make him cry more. You have to remember, teardrops are a secretion too. Modern medicine will not believe or listen to all of this. For example, in muscular dystrophy, a condition in which the muscles are tightened, we give the patient medicines which will not penetrate the skin muscles. Instead, herbs like nyavara, kurumtoti and prasarna are made into a tonic with equal amount of milk. To this, we add raisins and nyavara, kollarak and amukuram and apply the paste to the body. This is applied to the skin for 6 hours. During urgent situations, our skin responds and allows these vitamins to enter through the pores. No one will believe all this unless they see it for themselves. But we have treated so many. Is there any doctor in the world who has healed people otherwise? We have evidence to prove our claim. This means that even our skin has been built to provide required vitamins to our body. The most interesting thing is that today, for everything, there is a specialist. A nephrologist will tell you to drink 2 glasses of water a day, while a heart specialist will say 12, and a liver specialist will say 16 glasses. If you listen to a nephro, your other body parts will suffer. It's not just kidney. You have to clean and filter each part. Without even understanding all this, we listen to big advertisements and hospitals with big buildings and specialist doctors who hype up modern science. This is our mistake. On the other hand, if you just understand your body, you can fix everything using just one medicine. And that is the truth. If you tell all this to today's medicine students, will they understand? Never.